Hello and welcome back to Rooted and Refined. Today we're going to do a planting project. I've got some things that I seeded over the winter that are way overdue to be put in the ground. They're struggling in their trays, so we got to get those planted. Some of them are going to go in the ground and some of them are going to go into pots. So I'll show you what we're planting, we'll talk about what we're planting, and then we'll get it done. All right, I've got these Zinnia Envies. So they will be a nice chartreuse color when they bloom, but they are struggling in these trays. They are way overdue to be put in the ground. So I've got a total of 8 of those. I've got this Aubrieta Whitewell Gem. This will be a nice small purple flower planted in the ground. This would actually be a ground cover. I'm going to put it in pots. The flowers get about 4 to 6 inches tall, spreads about 12, 18 inches wide. You might have heard it called rock cress. A lot of people will plant it around rocks, but it's also really pretty when it's able to spill over a container, and I've got 2 black containers that these will really contrast against. So I'm excited to see how those will look. And I also have these Verbena that I snagged from the clearance rack of my local Lowe's. They weren't looking so good when I got them because, you know, they were clearance. But if you look at those clearance racks, there's a lot of things that just need a little bit of water and bounce right back. And that was the case for this Verbena. And then I've got this Bacopa that also came from the clearance rack. This will look great in a container. I'm going to replace some things and put that as a spiller coming out of one of my containers. So I'll get you set up and we'll get started. All right, so I've already started to clear this out. I think I told y'all before, I don't like this evening primrose. It looks too weedy to me. I just don't like it. So we are going to replace it. I'm going to pull this out, put it in this fire pit to be burned later. Oh, it sure does grow like a weed too. Goodness. Well, I was happy there, but I didn't like it, and I get to decide because it's my yard and my garden. So if you don't like something, change it. And I think I showed you before, I'm training this Gardenia to be a standard. You couldn't really see it, I don't think, because of that primrose. So I'm just going to put some of that Whitewell Gem, that Aubrieta or rock cress in here. It will be a perennial for me. It is zones 4 through 9, I want to say. It may even be evergreen for me. Typically blooms early spring, so I may get a few scraggly blooms, but that's okay. It'll be pretty next year. So we'll just now this stuff does spread. I think I said earlier. Having 2 of them in this container may be a bit much. But I'm going to plan to put something in the middle that will spill over. Gosh, that already looks so much better just without the primrose. All right, we'll get you moved over to the next container and do one more. All right, so we're going to do the exact same thing. I'm going to take these primrose out. Now, primrose can be invasive, which is why I did not put it in the ground. I put it in a pot. And I'm glad I didn't, because I don't like it. You know, you buy a seed packet and the picture looks so pretty, and then sometimes you don't like it. And that's okay. Beauty of gardening. It used to really bother me to pull a plant out. I would try everything to make plants survive. If they were struggling, I never wanted to give up on them. But after a while, you just can't struggle anymore. You got to fix it, right? And maybe that's our life lesson today. Don't struggle. Fix it. If you don't like it, change it. Okay. Let's get one of these guys over here. This gardenia the gardenia itself has been here for a while. I just started training it this spring. The foliage of this gardenia last year took up pretty much the whole container. So I want to keep them in these pots and have plants around them, so just train them up into standards. It's a good experiment. I've never tried it before. I've never trained anything into a standard, so gardenia is a nice, easy thing to start with when you're trying to do something like that. I think they grow so fast, so you don't have to wait forever, and they're forgiving. So if you make a wrong cut, it grows back quick enough. Okay, so same thing. I will get some, I'm not sure what yet, but I'll get something to put in the middle that will kind of spill over, and hopefully these will cascade over the sides of the container and look really pretty. If not this year, next year. All right, this is the first gardenia that I started to train into a standard. And I'd say it's pretty much there now. I have been working on this one for a couple years now. I like to experiment with things in the garden. That's what makes gardening fun. Boy, these primrose, I can definitely see how they could be invasive. That's a lesson, to do some research on plants before you plant them. Don't plant them just because you saw something on YouTube and somebody said, oh yeah, this looks great in my yard and it does this and it does this, because their yard might be a different yard. If their yard is in a different part of the country, plants act different. This might not be invasive in other parts of the country, but here it is. And so I made sure I did not plant it in the ground, because I did not want to have to deal with trying to eradicate something later that I didn't like. It's so much easier just to pull it out of a pot and just be done with it. But also, if you're going to put something in a pot, make sure that pot isn't directly over soil, because those invasive plants will still go to seed. And you can end up with some below the pot. So we'll put this Bacopa in this pot. We'll position it so it can already start to come over the sides some. This will fill in well. This will spread about 12 to 18 inches. I wish they had another one that I could have put on the other side, but only one on the clearance rack that day. Keep an eye out for some more. And that's it. our container projects are done. We're going to move on to putting some plants in the ground next. And there's a better view of the gardenia. Without that primrose in the way, it's a lot easier to see its shape. All right, those are our container projects. So next we're going to get some plants in the ground and we'll call it a day. All right, I'm going to fill in this area next to the seating wall with those Verbena. Now, I only have 4. Typically, when I plant something, I like to plant in odd numbers. I could put 3 here and put 1 somewhere else, but I am going to use all 4 here. I want to fill this area in, but I'm going to stagger these last 3 a bit. It's going to fill in some space. This Verbena is called Cadet White. So it's got these pretty little white flowers. Where I live, it will likely be an annual. It could potentially, in warmer climates, be a perennial. I want to say this is zone 8 or 9 to 11. So I'm in zone 8. We got a real winter this year. We don't normally get a cold winter, but we had several nights down in the teens, which is just not typical for us. So a lot of times plants like this will survive, even if it gets down to 32, which it always does. We always get 32 degrees in the winter, but even 32 degrees, some of our tender perennials will still come back with no problem. You know, they say that you can't grow lantana as a perennial where I'm at, but I beg to differ. Even if it's not a hardy variety, it comes back. Although I will say probably with the last winter that we had, it may not have. Okay, I'm making quick work of this. Okay. We have some zinnias to plant, and then we're done. All right, so you recognize this part of the yard. This is the side of the house. I'm gonna put 4 zinnia in each of these beds, 2 on either side of the gardenia in the middle, kind of at an angle. These zinnia will get roughly 2 to 2.5 feet tall and maybe about 18 inches wide. So they'll have plenty of room to grow and do their thing here, and they'll look beautiful. So I'm gonna get this done and then we'll be done for the day. I've got a peony growing right here and one behind me that will grow. This part of the garden doesn't look like a whole lot right now, but it will. This is the first year that I've reworked this garden. So it takes time. Remember, gardening teaches us patience. If you didn't have patience before you started gardening, you will. It's so worth it though. You plan for something, you have a vision in your mind, and then you see that vision come to life. And even if it doesn't, it's okay. It's just a learning experience. That's how you have to approach it. That's how you have to approach life, right? If something doesn't work out, just gotta keep trying. I had 2 very large gardenia here until I took those out. I'm surprised I'm not running into more gardenia roots. They had been here for a very long time and were quite large. All right, got 2 more on the other side. I'll just eyeball kind of where I need to be back here. That's the other beautiful thing about gardening. There's grace in gardening. Nothing has to be perfect. Still got all this beautiful mulch. It won't look like this by the end of the summer. Hopefully with more rain. As it rains, the mulch breaks down. It helps to provide nutrients to the soil. Okay, and then I've got a smaller one that we'll put right here. I hope these zinnia are happy here because I'm really excited to see what they look like. I don't think I've ever seen a chartreuse zinnia before. Move on to the other side. I've got some coneflower in this tray too, but it's doing okay. So I can wait a little bit longer before it gets planted. Well, thanks for coming along and joining me in that planting project. I had a long day at work, came home, got some gardening done. Just always makes you feel better, being out in the dirt, tuning out the noise of the world, and helping things grow. So until next time, stay rooted, stay refined, and I'll see you soon.